You're a wife, you're a mum, you're a CEO, you're a visionary, you're everything. And you don't even necessarily live near your office, do you?
No.
Henrietta Rix, Forbes 30 Under 30 alumni and co-founder of one of Britain's most beloved fashion brands, Rixo. Built from nothing but an IKEA table, a Facebook page and a small rented flat that she shared with her co-founder and uni BFF Orla. No investment, no blueprint.
We had no money. Everything went back into the business.
That IKEA table, now a global fashion house. It's a staple in mags from Grazia to Vogue, not to mention you'll find it on everyone from Hailey Bieber and Kylie to Julia Roberts and Madonna. But behind the glossy covers and the front row seats, the woman building all of this was quietly breaking.
I had a bit of a breakdown. I think I was in the doctor's and she was just like, Henrietta, you need to plan childcare. So I've got polycystic ovary syndrome. I've never really had regular periods at all. And from a young age, I was always told, look, you're really going to struggle to conceive.
Henrietta Rix.
Hello.
Oh, warm welcome to Hormones and Heroines.
Thanks for having me.
Do you know what? It's really interesting because the way we met was, that we used to live quite close together and our kids know each other.
School playground.
And I just started Clean Curls.
Yeah.
And so I was always like tapping you up for information. And I just thought, this woman, obviously incredible what you do with your brand and everything. But I was like, this is just so interesting. And it just made me think that, when I finally got to launch the podcast, I had to speak to you because I knew that there'd be other women that would want to be able to kind of hear your story of how you built this brand from, a flat that you and your friend were sharing to now a globally acknowledged brand and no investment.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into the origin story, because everyone loves an origin story, how do you do the juggle? Because you're a wife, you're a mum, you're a CEO, you're a visionary, you're everything. And you don't even necessarily live near your office, do you?
No, that's a great introduction. I really don't feel like I am all those things.
You are, though.
I don't know. I honestly just take it one day at a time. I think if you think too far ahead and think about what you're doing, like sometimes my friends are like, but where are you this week or what are you doing this week? And I just take it literally one day at a time, week by week. Because I think otherwise, if you think too far in advance, you can kind of think, oh my God, what's going on here? Or just get a bit overwhelmed. So I try and just be really rational and just plan. I think you just have, especially with kids, you've just got to be able to plan.
Are you quite organised then?
I think you have to be. I think organised. I wasn't when I first had Wolf. So Wolf's my first, he's 4 now, and I've got Killian who's 2. But when Wolf first came, honestly, the first 3 months of my life it was hell because I went straight back to work after 8 weeks. I think I was back to London. And then it was almost as if I hadn't planned any childcare. So honestly, I was on the train to London being like, who's going to look after Wolf today? Texting people like, could my sister-in-law do it? Could my mum do it? And then I had a bit of a breakdown and then spoke to I think I was in the doctor's. And she was just like, Henrietta, you need to plan childcare. You need to take it really seriously. Like you would plan a meeting at work. And something just clicked and I was like, okay, I need to get childcare in place. And then as soon, I think, because I just thought, oh, my mum can do it 1 week or Ronan's mum can do it. I just didn't really make a plan at all for it. I just thought life will continue, but it doesn't. So I think once you get a plan and a routine for your kids, it means then you can then be at work and not feel guilty, or you can kind of deliver. So I think the first was a real shock for me. And then I think when Killian came along, it was just kind of be sort of like slotted in. But I feel grateful that, some people it's really difficult. I chose to move back to Manchester and my kids would be there. So I had that kind of support around me. So I had family around me. Both myself and my husband are from there. And then I just do the commuting to London so that kind of they're not commuting. I do the commute. And I'm okay with that.
So when you launched the brand, it was in London.
It was in London and I didn't have kids, didn't have any responsibilities, no boyfriends, no mortgages, nothing. So it was full on like we were working 7 days a week all the time. But I think it was because I was doing it with like my best friend from uni that we were having a right laugh doing it together. So we didn't feel as if we were missing out. But don't get me wrong, from people looking in, they were like, okay, you're 23, you're not going out, you're not drinking, you're not socializing, like you're sad. And we did have a WhatsApp group calling ourselves a bunch of losers. And
Did
I was
you
like,
actually?
we are full on losers. Like seriously, we would, at the weekends, if we went out for like a coffee, that was like a treat. And then we'd be back to the living room, which is like this big IKEA table. And we'd just be working 24/7 on it. So we were losers for the first like 4 years of the brand. And
4 years. So what age? You met at uni?
Met at uni when we were 18, yeah. And then we lived together during our dissertation. And then it was from that uni flat that we stayed there for the first 3 years of Rixo. So about 6 months after we graduated, we were like, right, let's go for it.
So you went to London College of Fashion.
Yeah.
And that's where you guys met, right?
Yeah.
So did you always know you wanted to start a fashion brand, or was it something that you wanted to be in fashion, but you didn't know if it's PR or always design was the thing?
I think I was always like quite creative and knew my style and knew what I liked and yet have an eye for something. So I always knew that was it. I don't think I'd go down the PR route. Like I'm just not very like, I don't know if I'm a really confident person or a PR. If I don't know if
Yeah,
that would
wasn't
suit
you?
me. But I knew that I had such a passion for Rixo and the product we were developing and the gap in the market that I could easily talk about that all day long. So when I was meeting journalists and stuff, I could obviously sell the product to them and to wholesalers and stuff because I've just felt so passionate about the gap in the market and the product and the price point and what we were delivering. But I think it didn't daunt me starting a business. And I think that's like, maybe it's because my dad had his own business. My brothers, none of them went to university. I've got 4 older brothers and they all set up their own businesses. So that was kind of what I thought you did at like 16. They didn't even go to college. They kind of sat there. So it didn't phase me setting up a business. Whereas I think a lot of my friends, that would be like a big milestone to do that. And I was just like, if it's our name on it, like there's no plan B. We need to make this work. So we kind of just,
Yeah, but so
that was
you
it,
had
really.
you had an entrepreneurial streak anyway because you've just grown up with it.
I think so, but I guess you just kind of go for it. And I think the most nerve-wracking thing, honestly, was like setting up a Facebook page, which seems really weird now, but I remember being back and me and Orla were literally in the living room. And I think it was like 11 o'clock at night or something. And we were like, oh my God, should we click create? Because then like all our friends and all our uni friends are going to know about it. People back at home are going to know about it. I was like, oh, this is really cringy. They're going to think we're setting this fashion brand up. But I guess you just do it. And once then people started following and then we had an Instagram and just like people knew we were doing it. Then I was like, okay, now we've put ourselves out there. We need to make this work. So I think you become really determined. And at that, I think we were lucky as well because we didn't have like I said, like boyfriends, mortgages, like any real responsibility, like everything, any bit of energy went into Rixo.
If you were starting a business now, because I thought about this, because obviously things have changed, not just in the fashion landscape, but obviously for you as well. But you're an entrepreneur at heart. So I feel like if you were, it's possible that you could start a new brand or a new business in the future. So if you were doing it now as somebody who is married with 2 young children, and obviously commuting to your office potentially, what would you do differently? Because you just kind of like burrow away for 4 years.
Yeah.
With a co-founder, how do you think you would set it up for anyone listening who is a mum and is thinking, do you know what, I want to do something different, or I want to have something that's a bit more flexible, or
Yeah. I think do it slowly, like trial it. So a couple of my friends that are doing things now, it's like, okay, if you're full-time work, or if you're not full-time, it doesn't really matter but if you are full-time, maybe reduce down to 3 days and do just 2 days a week. Like just thinking about what is your business plan? What's your concept? Working on it. Do I have a supplier if it's a product or if it's a service? Kind of what does that look like? Do you need to get your branding sorted? So I would reduce your when you can. Obviously, you've got to pay a mortgage and you've got your kids to look after. So I think you've got to do it within your own means. You don't want to do something and then be stressed out and be like, oh my God, I can't even afford to do the normal things that you want for your life, like even just go out the weekends or whatever, that little things like that. So I would make a realistic financial plan and then be like, right, okay, when am I able to reduce my hours down to, I don't know, 3 days a week, and then start doing that. And if it's a product, could you do a drop model, see if it works? And then you've not invested too much into stock, but you're doing like
a prototype.
Like a prototype or something, and then just get out there, get a bit, and just use the first couple of 6 months to be like, okay, and then reevaluate and be like, okay, do I still feel really passionate, really confident this is going to work? Then can I reduce my hours down a bit more? So I guess that's kind of how I would say, I think doing the whole leap from if it's full-time work that you do, and then start something. But then it might just be that some people are on maternity leave and they feel really passionate about doing something. So can they use that time to really start thinking about ideas, jotting things down, talking to people?
Talking to people is a big one.
I think it is.
Especially if you
with
can,
people
if you meet somebody and you know that they're in a similar business like I did with you, I felt like I have to speak to her because, there's so much I could learn. And it's seeing somebody else that might be in an area that you're interested in.
People want to help you. I think if you're talking to people, like people are genuinely, I think along the time, like we've learned so much from other people, and that's like reaching out to people, whether that's on LinkedIn, on Instagram. DMs are amazing now. You can reach out to anyone, and so what if they don't get back? But if they do get back and you can have a 5-minute coffee or a 10-minute coffee with someone, you'll learn something. So I think you've got to be able to put yourself out there and not be embarrassed. Like we were, the things we did, honestly. I'm like,
go on, tell me about some of the things that you cringe, but then you're like, wow.
I don't know, just everything. We were literally like, I feel like we did everything. We wouldn't spend it because we didn't have investors. We were like so careful about any bit of money. So when it was like going to Paris, like everyone else would so you'd show your collection 4 times a year in Paris and meet all the global wholesalers. So like Saks would come over or Le Bon Marché and they'd meet you. So it was a really important deal going to Paris. We'd never done it before. Everyone else in the fashion industry gets the Eurostar, takes a suitcase, does the stuff. We were like, we're going to rent this Airbnb. So not in a traditional showroom. We're going to get a van. So we drove a van from our uni house to Paris, got the Eurostar, put like rails in the back, furniture, props and everything. And then the whole collection. Then we would even take like all our like nice little like French snacks for the buyers so they'd have something nice when they got there.
That's
and
a
everything.
really good idea.
But we would drive a van and we made Paris like hell I was like, why are we getting up at like 4:00 in the morning, driving the van, setting up the showroom where everyone else was like, no, we just rent a van and they do all that for us. And we were like, why are we being the van driver, this and that, like literally everything.
Because you had no investment.
I know. So things that we did do were just, you look back now and think, Jesus Christ, I would not be doing that now. I just get the Eurostar now where you see everyone else now on the Eurostar during that time of year. But yeah, you look back and think, oh God.
How did you get the brand into a position where you could then have those meetings in Paris? Like when was it that you realised? Because I read that you didn't even really have a handle on any of the finances until one day you were just like, oh my God, this is actually making money.
Yeah,
is that
I
right?
think because we were so conscious of not spending money.
Right.
And I think my dad would ring me all the time. He sells cars, and he was like, "How have you?" He knew that you needed the stock to sell. So as soon as we had the stock, he was like, "Have you sold any dresses today?" And he still says to me, "Have you sold? How many dresses have you sold?" Because for him, it'd be like how many cars he sold and all.
Yeah.
So I just knew that we had to sell. So as soon as we got our first chunk of stock, I think if we didn't have any wholesalers to buy it or it wasn't shifting on our website, which to be honest with you, we had like 1 or 2 orders when we were walking down to the local post office when we first started, like every single day.
That was like me on the high street where we used to.
So you literally, and then the post office one day was like me and Ola turned off and we honestly had about like 500 bags. Someone must have worn it. And we were shipping up and they were like, she's the governor. And I was like, oh my God, I died. I was like, we need to just like create like some sort of like DHL collection from the house. Cause I was like, we can't carry on walking down to the post office, but you do have it. But I think we didn't have anyone in finance. This was the biggest mistake we made. So our first hire we had an amazing first hire. It was like an admin, a bit of everything, like customer service and just like helped us pick and pack all the garments and like pack it. And she went to the post office then and stuff. But our first like real accountant hire, I think we found her on Gumtree. Honestly, we put an advert out on Gumtree, which is the worst thing to do ever. And then she turned up for about 2 weeks and we were like, right, we need to make this really professional, like an accountant's coming in on Monday to the living room. So we used Orla's bottom bedroom and turned that into an office. All weekend we went to IKEA. We even like literally bought like a stapler and shit like that. I was like, what? We doing? We had no idea what we were doing.
The fake it till you make it theme.
I was like, we're
big.
going to make this really professional for her. She turned up for about 2 weeks and then she went to Notting Hill Carnival one weekend and never came back. I was like, the bitch. I was like, oh my God, where's she gone? So don't do that.
That's funny.
But then, yeah, I think we obviously had the bank balance and we could see the cash, but we weren't keeping a track on anything like POs or what we were like. We just
How
didn't
were you
really know how.
Did you have like little part-time jobs or?
Yeah, so we did. So like babysitting, and just random stuff like that. Like honestly, we used to dog sit the dog that was the neighbour's dog. So when we were like working in the day and we had like it wasn't really as much like Teams and FaceTime. So it was more like if we had like our buyers or local boutiques coming round to the living room to buy, we showed them our new collection and we'd show from the living room. Then the dog would come running downstairs and like be in the meeting, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, it was just like chaos in the house, honestly. But yeah, we did little things like that, but. Yeah.
So you were hustling and then
And we
buying
didn't
stock.
pay up. So all we knew we had was our rent for the house that we were both sharing. We had 2 other flatmates. And then, yeah, we were just kind of just going from there, really. We weren't really paying ourselves anything. We just knew we needed to cover our rent and cover like general stuff, but we weren't paying ourselves anything. So we had no money. Everything went back into the business.
So, okay, so I'm trying to piece this together now. So you were hustling, you had these part-time jobs. When did you get acknowledged then by like, because obviously Rixo is a brand that is like loved by, fashion editors around the world and, Kylie, loves the brand and Margot Robbie. How did you go from then being this bootstrap brand that you're doing from the flat? What was the turning point where you started to get acknowledged, where you could then go to like Paris and be a bit of a mover and shaker?
I think it all kind of snowballs a bit, but everything's got to come together. So it's a little things. It's not just like one particular thing. So I think once we launched on Net-a-Porter, then
So it was the retail listing.
The retailers then. So I think definitely that happened back in the day. But then also press as well. Like we would take our suit bags on the tube all day. And like in those days, everyone was working in the offices still. So we'd go to Grazia, Vogue, and we'd just be like, look, we'll wait for 10 minutes. We just want to show you, like, whenever you're down, like if you get in the elevator to lunch, we'll sit and wait here and just show you the product. Like, we were desperate to show them. And then like you'd have like a cutting or a feature in Vogue or a cutting or a feature in Red magazine, or just slowly, or like Grazia then featured you. And it
But
was
that's
like the 10
amazing
hot.
coverage, though,
So
isn't
little
it?
things like that would happen, and we never had a PR agency. It was just the two of us. I think they felt sorry and they were like, well, these girls just go away. We will just shove it in next week's magazine so they'll just go away and leave us alone.
So did you befriend the journalists?
We kind of befriended them, and it was genuine as well, because they would then saw the product and they were like, oh my God, like, and what's the price point? Wow, that's amazing. And it's 100% still. But they would always say, where are you stocked? So it really did help when we were then stocked on Net-a-Porter. And then you got the likes of like Selfridges and Brown Thomas and Harvey Nicks and Liberty and Harrods then being like, oh, right, okay, this is
once you're in that nice
once you're in that
listing.
It does help. So I think that definitely helps. So securing like a first major does help, and then you can kind of you've almost got like a seal of approval.
Of course, yeah.
And that was a major thing. Like I remember getting the email because I was like, I don't believe this until the actual PO comes through.
Yeah,
of course. You get the picture and it comes through, and I was like, oh my God! Like when it first came through, and I still remember that feeling of our first big order, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Now we've got to fulfill it, deliver it on time. How do we do that?
How did you pitch to Net-a-Porter?
We were in a local boutique, and then the buyers just random, like, because we were then gifting our product to, at that time it was like the Made in Chelsea girls were really big. So like Millie McIntosh wore it while she was going out with Professor Green, and she wore it during Fashion Week, and everyone was like, what is this dress she's wearing? And then we were in a local boutique in London, and they were kind of like all like the Chelsea girls and a bit of a clique there, but a lot of them worked at Net-a-Porter's and were like the junior buyers. And it's noticeable as well, I think, if you're wearing a brightly coloured silk skirt or a dress to work at that time. So everyone was like, what is this brand that people are wearing in the office? Like people were just wearing it in the office. So we were lucky in that respect. And then we were just like emailing them constantly saying, look, we'll come over to your offices. Can we do it? And then we had a meeting in their offices, and like honestly the questions they were asking us, we were just like blagging it. They were like, even just like, when are you delivering it, and what season is this, and what's it coded? And I was like, oh,
you are learning on the go with business, aren't you?
I was like, yeah. So you just have to go,
and you got to pretend like you know, like.
Yeah. And they were really nervous to take it on because it was quite a low price point for them at the time. Like it was like the low.
But that was your gap in the market, wasn't it?
That was our gap in the market.
Vintage inspired.
And then it literally just sold out within like 2 weeks, and they were like, oh my God, we need more of this stock. And then we've had like nearly like a 9-year relationship with them. So they've been a really supportive wholesaler for us, which is hard to find. I think now it's really tricky with wholesale. So they've been a great wholesaler. So that definitely did help. And then we just continued them with like the press meetings and
you used that as leverage.
Yeah, definitely. And then gifting, and then you just carry on going.
Oh my goodness, there's so many questions that I have to ask you, but we don't even have very long, which is basically a testament to the fact that you are like so busy. Our lives are so busy. We're like, right, let's squeeze this in.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
So one of the reasons why chatting with you really resonated with me as well, obviously being, you know, when we used to be neighbours, was the fact that I knew that you'd been through certain things in your life as it pertained to kind of like having children and everything.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit about your journey, you know, to becoming a mum whilst navigating, you know, being a CEO and any kind of like challenges that you face along the way.
Yeah, of course. I think it's difficult. There's never a right time. So I think if you were thinking, oh my God, if you've got your own business, when is the right time? Like children are not made to order. Like my mum always says that. And there's never a right time. And I think I actually look back at COVID now and I'm like, actually, I'm quite lucky because COVID allowed me I moved out of London during COVID, and then I got pregnant with Wolf. But from a young age, so I've got polycystic ovary syndrome. I've never really had regular periods at all. And from a young age, I was always told, look, you're really going to struggle to conceive. And I'd always then been on like...
Who told you that?
A doctor when I was like, I think I was like 16 or 17. I was just
cheers.
like, I remember, like, I was like, great. And like, one of my things is, you know, and some people are like, I want to be a mum or I don't want to be a mum. Like, I'd always, like, I've got, like, I'm one of 5 siblings. I've always had a big family. And I was just like, to me, being a mum was like so important. Like, it wasn't like an if or like, I just really from a young age always wanted to be a mum. So when I was told that, I was a bit like, oh, right, okay. But then Rixo happened and I kind of put like my personal health to one side. But it was my mum that was always calling me like, Henrietta, please just go to a gynecologist, get yourself looked at, do this, blah, blah. So then I did when I think I was about like 25 or something. And they were like, so how many period? And I was like, I genuinely don't have them. I have like one a year randomly, and it's just not. So then I kind of looked into that a little bit more, saw a gynecologist, and then made sure like he put me on drugs to make me have like a regular period and to ovulate and stuff.
And what drugs was that?
So Provera. So I'd take that for 10 days, which is kind of like, and then like you'd come off it for 2 days and then you'd have a bleed, quite a heavy bleed, which I guess when you're doing that and you're just carrying on with work, you don't really have time to stop and think, actually, what am I doing? And then ovulation induction then, because I wasn't ovulating, to make me have a drug then whilst I was having a period. So constantly I've been on tablets for the last like 5 years to try and
Really?
make me have the boys. And then there's things like miscarriages, and how do you go into work and say, like, you just have to rock on and pretend as if nothing's...
So that's what you've been through as well.
Yeah. So it's got, and do you know what? But I feel so grateful that I've got the 2 boys. Like, there's some people that are going through real like fertility issues and they don't have children yet, and it's heartbreaking. But you do have, being a woman, you do have that as well as trying to be a career
It's
like,
so hard, isn't it?
career-driven, and
Especially because your biological clock is in conflict sometimes with like you
but
said.
all of my business partners, she went straight back to work after like honestly like 2 weeks or something. She was kind of straight into it. So, and
I
I do
did
look back and I'm like,
similar.
that's not,
I don't even know why I was
not
like,
normal,
wow, 'cause I
but
did
you
something
do
similar.
it. You are in a bit of a weird state of mind. You do it, but then it's probably not right. But I don't know. You just get on with it. Sometimes you don't have the choices that you wish.
I think it's hard when you're running a business as well to think that you're going to have a longer time off.
Yeah. And also I sometimes think as well, for some of my friends that do have a year off, I actually think they can lose their confidence. And I do think sometimes, I think it's harder. The longer you take off, the harder it is to get yourself back into work. Like, I do see that. And I'm like, I'm not surprised that you're really anxious to go back, because if I had a year off, oh my God, I would be so nervous to go back into it. Things change and the teams change, or your colleagues have changed. So I think it's not easy either way.
Yeah, no, because I think you it must be that your brain chemistry and everything changes. I remember having Bonnie, and then it really knocked my confidence, and especially because it was all around lockdown, and then there was a lot of the work that I had been doing which was very quiet, and so I'd then go. But I remember maybe it was like 8 weeks after having Bonnie, and I'd gone to do this like pilot, this ITV pilot, and I just thought, oh my God, and I literally had just had the C-section 2 months before, and I was just going, welcome to birth, thinking, oh my God, and it does knock your confidence, doesn't it?
But from an outsider's perspective, no, like,
I'd
look at you and I'd be like, oh my God, you're the most confident, amazing, like bubbly person in the world, just absolutely gorgeous. But you have no idea what's going on behind, and like,
So your lovely husband, who I also know, who's so lovely, charismatic, great to talk to. How did you meet him? Oh, actually, I do know he knew your brothers. And you know what's so funny about that story? I always think that, like, I remember back in the days, if I ever liked any of my brother's friends, my brother would be fuming.
You'd be dead.
So what did your brother say?
I was like, I'm just not telling them. But my mum was like, I always knew something was going on between you two. But I was like, I'm not going to bother even going there until it was like something serious. Then I was like, Ronan, that's over to you. I was like, you can tell Louis. And then I think which is really weird, they would never do it anyway, but I think they went for dinner, and I think they had like a starter, a main, and a dessert, and they still hadn't said anything. And then on the way out, like back to the cars or something, I think he just said like, oh, by the way, I'm seeing your sister, or something weird like that. I don't know. But yeah. But no, I'm so lucky. I've got a really supportive partner. Like, he's amazing. He's the best dad, and he's so supportive of Rixo. Like, when we were first going out, and like for the first 3 years, he was like, oh, can we go on a date? Can we do this? And I was just like, I'm just so focused on Rixo. I was just like, no. So I just kind of was like, I was not ignoring him, but
so he really hung on in there.
He hung on for ages, bless him. But when I was younger, I was obsessed with him. Like, when I was like 16, 17, I was like, oh my God, who is that? Like, obsessed with him. And he was probably like in his prime, loving life, going out, and like had all the girlfriends and didn't even know who I was. I was like this little like 15-year-old obsessed with him. So I was like, it kind of swung the other way. Yeah.
The power balance.
Yeah.
Swung. Yeah.
But no, I think timing's a big thing, isn't it? And then, but yeah, no, lucky. And it's really nice now that he has a really good relationship with my brother. And yeah, so it's
so
nice.
They finally like, yeah,
it's all good. It's all good now. Yeah, it's all good now.
And your wedding was in British Vogue.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because that's just like fairy tale wedding.
Yeah, no, it was lovely. And to be honest with you, Wolf was 5 months. So I'd gone back to work, and then everyone was like to me, what are you wearing? What dress are you wearing? And I kid you not, 4 weeks out, I was like, I haven't got a clue. I've not even thought about the dress. I don't know I haven't got a clue. I was like, I just need to try, because I planned all the wedding as well and everything. So it was a lot. I look back now and think, how the hell did I do that? But it was really nice. We just did it at the mum and dad's garden, where we'd spent lockdown as well, a lot of time in lockdown. And like Wolf was there as well. That was his first house. We were renovating a house, and we didn't have a house, so we were in with my mum and dad's house. So it was kind of felt quite special at that time of our lives to like do it there. So we just did like a really lovely garden party in the local church, and it was really nice. But yeah, how it got into Vogue, I think it was American Vogue first. It went into, then it came over to like the British. But it was, I think it was just all a really natural thing. It was on like DM, and then
well, they DM'd you.
Yeah, I was DMing Elise, the journalist who's US Vogue, and she was like, "Oh my God, send me pictures when they come." And then I was like, "Will do." And then I forgot, and then she messaged me like, "Oh, will you send pictures? I really want to see. I really want to see. I really want to see. I want to see more pictures. And then I was like, oh, well, do you think it will be covered? And she was like, it really just depends down to the pictures. And I was like, oh, for God. I was like, oh God, this isn't great. Sent a link, and it was just really natural. I think most of it was done over DM. Then she was like, great, yeah, we can feature it in this. And it just so happened that we followed each other on Instagram. She was the wedding writer. And then after it went on American Vogue, and then British Vogue picked up and a couple others. So it was really nice, but it was really nice for the photographer that I had. He was just like a work colleague that we used at Rixo. So he wasn't like a traditional wedding photographer
That's
at all.
amazing.
And he was like, oh my God, you need to be your agent since, because obviously they credit the photographer. He was like, since then I've had so much work and like all that stuff. So that was really nice. It was just, yeah, it was a really nice thing. And it
That's
was gorgeous
lovely.
for Wolf as well. I was like, Wolf, little cutie pie in Vogue. So yeah, no, it was nice.
That's amazing because it happened organically. You did it at home. Like you say,
Yeah.
you've got in one of your own people as a photographer who then
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
Yeah, it was good.
such an amazing story. So Rixo now, fast forward,
Yes.
you know, a globally renowned fashion brand.
Yeah.
What's next? Because I feel like the brand has really pivoted in such an exciting way.
Yeah.
How do you think it's changed, and what is it that because I know like you've also got jewelry as well.
Yeah.
Tell me about kind of like the Rixo now compared to how it was before, how it's changed and where you're going.
Yeah, I'd say Rix is very much known for our dresses and our guest of and wedding occasion dresses, and summer really is our peak, and that's our DNA, and we'll never move away from that. Like Ola and I love dresses. Like we hardly ever we always wear dresses. That is just kind of in the blood of the brand, I guess, the DNA of the brand. So, but it's everything around the dress now that we really kind of we want to be able to do. So the customer can come in, and if she's going to a wedding, she can get the shoe, she can get the bag, she can get the jewelry, and it's all at that contemporary price point, but it feels a bit different and vintage inspired and special, and not something she's going to find anywhere else. Store expansions as well. We've opened quite a lot of stores recently and really kind of built the whole world of Rixo. So in our Kingsbridge flagship, we've got a gorgeous cocktail bar, we've got a coffee bar, we've got a bridal suite. It's just a really lovely.
I need to come to that.
You do. You need to come and get a dress, Sarah. And then we've got live alterations. So if you want something altered, you can have it done. So it feels like the whole world of Rixo.
So it's like experiential. I
Yeah,
think that's the way
definitely.
people love that, don't they?
100%. Yeah. So that is kind of a key thing for us, is kind of like developing our retail stores so people feel like there's like, because I think there's so much is going to come with like AI and how we can use that efficiently within the business and how everyone works. But I still think that personal community around the brand and having that diversity as well, I think is really key. So we've just launched a more kind of you campaign, so not changing yourself, and it's so nice to have all different shapes and sizes and backgrounds.
What
and
does that look like
ethnicities.
then, that campaign? Like, as in, what's the whole premise of it?
The premise, so there's about 15 women. Some of them are the ones that work for us. One of them's our supplier. A couple of them are like journalists we've worked for or just friends along the way. But it was just really nice, everyone coming together and showing that actually you can wear Rixo in your own way. Like someone might just buy black from us and not buy prints, and they kind of wear it in a more of a grungy tomboy way, or someone might be a bit more feminine. And it's really nice to see how like everyone wears it in their own way. And you can, like, we're not here to tell somebody exactly how to wear something, but we just want women to feel confident and to be able to kind of feel like they can come into Rixo. Don't get me wrong, if like print and that vintage DNA is their style,
Yeah.
that they can find something.
And is that something that was it an idea that you had based on feedback that you had, or just like the way that you saw things changing, or, because I remember we chatted about how you've got even more sizes now than ever before, which is amazing.
Yes.
And was that just like a natural kind of like, what's the word, evolution of the brand?
I think so. I think I would hate for someone, I think fashion can be quite an inclusive industry or quite like an intimidating industry. And even Ola and I felt that when we first started, like it did feel intimidating. So I was like, and now like our friends outside of the industry were like, yeah, but you're in fashion. I'm like, yeah, but it can still feel intimidating.
Yeah, because you're just I think if someone didn't know you, they might think that you're like this person that's unapproachable, but you're like the opposite of that. So it's
I
like,
hope so. And
no,
I would
because
hate,
the
I'd
fashion
hate the
world,
brand. Yeah, I'd hate the brand to come across like that. So
no.
my worst feeling would be for someone to feel like they couldn't walk into our store if they weren't a particular size. Because like we're women, we might have just had a baby, or we might be feeling a bit crap about ourselves, or we might have put on weight, or we're not always going to be feeling the best thing. So say if someone really doesn't like their arms, or they don't like their legs, or whatever it is, like we would love for someone to come in, even if from a size 6 to a size 26, that they can come in and they can get something and they can feel confident that actually just because I'm a certain size or whatever, like I can't still dress for myself and feel confident and lovely. So that's and it's so nice to honestly hear customers try things on in the fitting room and feel amazing and be like, oh, my husband hasn't complimented me in so many years, and I wore this Rixo dress and I just feel great. And it's things like that I mean, we're not curing cancer, we're aware of that, but it's still really nice to make kind of women feel good about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And then I have to ask you about Ola, because I just, the idea of like starting a business with someone else, there must be so many pros and cons, because obviously you've got your partner in crime, always, But then, I know stories of people that have started business with their friends. They fall out, and that's the end of the
of course.
business
Yeah. No,
and their friendship. So how have you stayed friends for so long?
yeah. Well, we lived together for the first 5 years of
Did
Rixo,
that
so
help, do you think?
I think it did, and I think it helped that we were both at really similar situations within our lives. I think communication is the biggest thing. Like, you've got to be communicating all the time, because now, especially as Rixo gets busier, like, it can go a full day and I'm not in any meetings with Ola. I'm in completely different meetings with Ola, making decisions, and Ola's in another different meeting. So we've got to carve out the time to make sure that at the end of the day or the start of the day, we talk to each other and just catch up and have that. So I think communication is key. Like, oh my God, there's so many of my friends that there's no way I would start a business with, let alone live with. I think the fact that we
Yeah.
live together and we have a similar sort of mindset, like, we're very
Mm.
much kind of like quite positive. We don't know the answers, but we're going to find the answers, and we're both driven and ambitious. So we have a similar like mentality anyway. Um, Ola's a twin sister as well, so her twin sister used to live with us. So I think Ola's very used to being. So I feel like we're more like sisters. And don't get me wrong, every day is not ideal, but I think it's so nice that when days are not great and you feel like you're either exhausted or tired, or you're just like, oh my God, what are we going to do next? Or how do we get over this? Like, things do just go wrong, or it's not all rosy in the garden. You've got that person that can then, whenever she's having a bad day or stressed about things, we can kind of bounce off each other and just
Oh.
support and help each other. But don't get me wrong, like, it is tough. Like, we've been quite lucky at the moment. Like, we both got married in the same year. We both kind of got mortgages in the same year. We both had kids around a similar time, but
Yeah.
our lives aren't always going to be in tandem. So
Do you ever
I
fight
think
though?
uh, if we fight, it'd be like a crossword, and it'd be more like sisters. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
like,
we
oh
know that.
God,
I
you're so
think the
annoying.
thing
Yeah.
is that we both know we want the best for Rixo. So there's
Yeah.
no ego. I think you just can't have an ego, because it's not like, oh well, I'm going to stick to my answer just
Because
because
I
it
wanna
was
be
mine.
right,
I
yeah.
want to be right. You just can't be like that. So there's no egos, and neither of us have like an ego about it. And it's like, sometimes, yeah, we don't know what we're doing, but we'll figure it out. And yeah, but there's pros and cons.
The fashion industry, how has it changed for you? And do you think it's still like quite an intimidating space for people to get into if they're interested in working, be it as, owning their own brand or in fashion PR? Because I feel like it has from the outside looking in, even like the institution of Vogue has changed so much.
Yeah.
So how has it changed for you? And do you think, there's still these kind of like areas of, I don't know, snobbery or like intimidation that exist that
Mhm.
would make it feel like there's these barriers to entry for people that want to get into fashion?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think it is one of those industries that always will feel a little bit intimidating. And I think when we first started, like, it was intimidating. And I think that's why we wanted to create Rixo. So it felt like it wasn't. I would hate for anyone to feel that Rixo was an intimidating brand or anything like that. But I think you've just got to, if you're passionate about it, your passion's going to break through, and you've just got to go for it, because there are lovely people. There are so many amazing people in the industry as well. It's just about finding the right people. But I guess that's anywhere. Like, when you go to school, it's like finding your group or whatever it is. So I think in the industry, it can be intimidating, and at times, like, we can be in an event and you do walk in and you think, oh God, like, I don't know anyone, or oh, there's that person, and you just think, oh, what am I doing here? But you just got to just go with it. And yeah.
London College of Fashion. I remember
Yeah.
back in the days, I'd like apply for the little prospectuses that had come through, and I was obsessed. And I'd be like, right, I want to do fashion PR, I want to do this, I want to do that. What was it like? Because I always wanted to go and never did.
Yeah.
So,
The
tell me
interview
about
process, yeah, the interview process was actually really daunting. I remember, like, they wanted to do loads of different things to even get to the interview process. It was like they wanted to have X, Y, Z, like, kind of things, like, even if it was retail experience or internships or what was that.
Really?
And then I remember going to the interview, and there was 6 people around the table, and like one of the course leaders or someone, and we all had like this joint interview. So it was almost as if we were all like fighting over each other to try and get this place.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, oh my God. But then I realized when I actually got in, I was like, 4 people around the table got in. So I was like, I felt like, oh my God, I'm there's one of 6 here. Like, you really have to make your voice heard. And like,
Oh, so the
yeah.
interview wasn't 6 people interviewing you. It was like
No,
load
it
of
was a
you
load
having
of
a chat.
yeah, and then one person kind of interviewing us, and they kind of wanted to. I don't know what I just remember it was so clear, like, going into this building and then going into this really weird table. There was like 6 students, and then like one person asking questions, and they were evaluating like how you're interacting with each other and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this just feels really weird. But got the place, and actually, I would say, like, going to uni in London's really difficult because all my friends went to like Manchester or Leeds and they
Yeah.
had Freshers Week and they were being normal students. I think everyone kind of came to London. They tried to like reinvent themselves, take themselves too seriously. They were at fashion school and like it was all a bit
Really?
dramatic. And I actually found that quite hard. So my first year at uni, I was like, I really hated it because I was like, no one's normal. No one wants to go out. And I was like, are we doing a Freshers Week? Are we
Was
going
it a bit
out?
too cool for school?
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just a bit like, and all my other friends were having like the best time. And I was like, oh, this is really shit. I was like, so
Yeah, because they're at those uni,
it's like
cities
typical
and
uni cities.
yeah.
And like, they were all going out meeting loads of new people. And I was like, oh no, my halls are really like, they just felt really like, there was loads of international students as well. It felt really stuffy and like, as if, I don't know, like it just didn't, it felt, it was really difficult to make friends in that first year. But that Orla was on my course. And then we both gelled because Orla really didn't like her first year in London as well. She hated her first year in London. So it was kind of like we both gelled over that as well. And we weren't taking ourselves too seriously or reinventing ourselves because we were at London College of Fashion. It was just like, I don't know. Yeah.
Was there anyone that you met that from your kind of like your year that is now a big fashion designer or a big PR or anybody
Yeah,
of
there's
note?
it's actually amazing. Like loads of people from our course have gone on to do like amazing things. So one of the girls from our course, she does all Hailey Bieber's Road PR and is kind of like leads the whole of that. Like unreal. One of them is a designer at Victoria Beckham and is like the chief kind of designer. It is amazing. And like some of them like are in press or like journalists now. So it is amazing to see where everyone goes. Or one of them's like does like PR at Tom Ford. And so it is amazing where everyone goes after. And it's like, oh my God, that's so funny. We were all like 18-year-olds in halls together and
Wow.
stuff. But you kind of that's the beauty of Instagram. You can see what everyone's up to and stuff. So it is really nice.
So it was a strong alumni. Do you feel like you kind of you got to lean into your network at all and work with anybody that you were actually studying with?
Yeah, we did. So this guy called Ryan, who was like really high up at this PR agency, he really helped us at one of our London Fashion Weeks. And it was amazing to work with him. He kind of like secured us this big Grazia feature just before the show. And it was kind of like a shop the show. So when we launched the fashion show, you could then shop it. He secured loads of press around it. He was like on the door, making sure all like the VIPs and celebrities were coming in. And I was like, oh my God, go Ryan. Like he was there like getting everyone. And he's so tall as well. So you can like see him above like the whole crowd. So that was a really nice experience that I always remember like working with him. And it's so funny to like, if someone would have told us when we were 18, like we would have been like, what? No way. So that was really cool.
That's amazing. Who was the first, like, I know like you obviously had like the Made in Chelsea guys
Yeah,
wearing the dresses and stuff. Who was like the first like major kind of international celebrity that wore one of your pieces and you were like, oh my goodness,
yeah.
a news just in?
I think Julia Roberts, and she must have just bought it. It was just like a paparazzi shot, and she was wearing one of our like sea life blouses. And then I think that summer as well, like Kris Jenner wore it coming off a boat in Portofino, and I was like, okay, we've like
We've made it.
Yeah, I was like, we've made it. It's all good.
Did
no,
you see like an immediate impact in people buying those pieces?
No, but the press pick up on it. So like when Kylie was wearing it, like walking through, like Kylie Minogue was wearing it, walking through an airport and stuff, you get press from the back of it. And it kind of, again, it's a bit like a wholesaler stocking you. It kind of just puts a bit of a stamp of approval on the brand.
Because were you always retail? Or do you do direct to consumer from your website as well?
We did it from so we had a first little pop-up store that Orla and I worked in like every single day in Covent Garden, like when we first launched the brand. We then launched the website and then we launched wholesale. So we did it pretty much all from the get-go. But we almost needed wholesale because we were like, we can't shift all the stock. So we need to be stocked in like local boutiques, and so we needed that. And then the website, then when someone would wear it, you'd get maybe 4 orders or 5 orders instead of like none.
Yeah. No, but it's good for people to hear numbers because I think when you're first starting out, it's really difficult, especially now with all of the hype of Instagram. You almost feel like you need to have like a $1 billion business overnight.
Straight away.
It's ridiculous.
I know,
so I think it's important for people to like know that there's that.
No, it
that
takes
growth.
a long time. It's not like an overnight success. Yeah. No, I mean, God, I remember like I did all the customer care for like the first 3 or 4 years. My mobile number was literally like yesterday I got a customer leaving me voicemails during a meeting. I just screenshotted it and sent it to our customer care manager because I was like, people are still, I don't know how, but my number must still be on Google. I'm like, are you sure it's not on the website somewhere? Because people are finding it. But
so that's a hangover from the days when you're doing it all yourself. You do have to wear a lot of hats. I mean, whether it's like knowing about palettes or marketing or the legals or there's so much.
But like
to
I was
think about.
to you, because you've obviously got clean curls and that's doing amazing. So it's like
it is spinning a lot. It's spinning a lot of plates. We're still like a really small team. What's your team size now? Because obviously it must have started off with you and all doing everything. Like you said, going to the post office. Going here, there, and everywhere. What's your team size looking like now?
So the head office is 65 people. And
Wow.
then we've got 7 stores. So that then takes us to about 120. But to me, that's not like, I'm like, I don't, the size of it is like, when people are like, oh my God, that's amazing. It's so
But it
big.
is
But I'm like,
big.
but you feel then responsible for so many
Do
people that you
you?
do. Yeah,
How do you
definitely.
mentally deal with like the scale up? Like how was
It
it
just
kind
it
of like a
happens
real
quite
gradual thing?
yeah, it's a gradual thing, so it's not like an overnight thing. You go from like I mean, I remember the hardest bit was the first couple of hires to be like going from like hiring 1 person to 2 people to 3 people because I was like, what are their job titles? What do you do? Like that was the hardest bit, and
And you almost
then
feel
you almost
responsible for their experience of their career, don't
100%
you?
definitely.
Yeah.
And at those startup times, like honestly, it's not like they're coming into the living room. I'm like, oh my God, like literally, like you
With a
might be,
stapler.
yeah, yeah. We had a stapler, so we were professional. um, but yeah, that was really hard, I think, kind of. But then once you start to get like a manager, and then she might say, I need an assistant to do a bit more, and then it kind of slowly grows that way. Um, but yeah, headcount and org structure and everything, that is a constant, yeah.
What's your favorite part of the business? Because people always talk about that phrase when you're an entrepreneur, you want to be working on the business, not in the
I
business.
know.
And I'm sort of like in that phase now where I'm trying to transition away from just like running around the ship, putting out
I
fires and not being
know.
on top of it and looking at the strategy. What do you feel like you're like, what's your
I
day
feel like
to day?
I feel like we're definitely still like in the weeds and in it. I don't think we
Yeah.
have the luxury at the moment just to be like pure strategy, like 100% strategy, and I'm just looking ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I think the devil's in the detail because some areas of the business where I have let the detail go, and we had a CFO in, and he came in, and then I wasn't in any of the detail. Then it's like, actually, that then when things do go wrong, how do I know? Like, ultimately, the bookend
Mm.
lies with me, so we've got to fix it. You don't know. So I do like to still be aware of the detail and what's going on. But you do then have to not micromanage. Just hiring the right people is so key.
And how
Like
do you do
getting
that?
the
Because
right team.
hiring's so hard, isn't it?
It is so hard. And you do get it wrong. But I think, and
They
loads
go
of
to Notting
people.
Hill Carnival
Yeah, yeah.
and never
After
come
2
back.
weeks. I was like, is she gonna come back? You don't always get it right. You can't get it right the whole time. But there is a gut feeling as well. Like, do I want to work with that person? Would I jump on a Teams call with her at 8 o'clock in the morning? Would you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like when I'm on the way to dropping the kids off at work, like is that person going to make my life easier, or are they going to add more hassle? Like, can they manage people? So I think there's questions like that, especially people that you're going to be your direct reports and you're working with, because you spend more time with them than you do your family, really. Sometimes,
Yeah,
like
you
it
do.
could be like
Yeah.
a week where you're just with all your teammates, really, and like the team. So I think it comes down to gut instinct as well. And then we've been guilty of it. It's also like, it's kind of cruel to be kind, but if people aren't right, I think addressing that
Yeah.
earlier than leaving it to fester, because
Mm.
then you get more annoyed. Then it's just like, it's not
It's
fair
never
on
nice letting
them.
someone
It's
go, but
not,
it's got to be,
yeah, you've
yeah.
got to kind of. So I think if anything, I think that's probably one thing we need to learn to do a bit better. Like when it's not working, just be like, right, okay, like put your big girl pants on and
Well,
just be
lean
like,
into your masculine energy,
yeah,
haven't you? I
definitely
know
a
it
little
sounds
bit,
a
and
bit
just.
sexist, but I do think as women, we find it hard to not be in people pleaser
Yeah,
mode.
definitely. So I think you just got to be like, right, okay, like even just like scheduling the meeting, you're like, oh, I'll do it next week, or don't, oh, it's not right, or
Yeah.
maybe they can improve, or maybe it's me, and like, did we need to give them more training and stuff like that. But I think if someone's ultimately not right, then I think making those decisions sooner rather than later is better for everyone. It's better for like all their teammates around them and stuff.
Before you go, talk me through like your average week. Because
Yeah.
I remember one time, I think you'd come to Bonnie's birthday party with your lovely boys and you'd literally landed from like New York or something that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, this woman is amazing. So what's your average week look like?
It's not always like that.
Yeah, it is not.
But yeah, I guess it really depends. It's not like a typical average
Okay,
week. But
fine.
Mondays, to be, if I like, in general, Mondays I work from home, so kind of Ola and I have a catch up first thing in the morning, and I do like all my one-to-ones on a Monday, so checking in kind of with all our like senior leadership team, any interviews that I might need to do, anything that I can do on like Teams and like catch ups and stuff, I'll do on a Monday. Tuesday I commute down to London, and I can do, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I do in London in the office, and that's
Would
meetings.
you
So
commute
like,
back again? So you do,
no,
or
I
you stay
stay in
overnight?
London. I stay in London, yeah. So Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then I head back Thursday night. And then I'll see the boys Friday morning, and then just work from home Friday morning. But when I'm in London, it could be like meeting wholesalers. So straight after this, I'm going to go and see Harvey Nichols, one of our biggest wholesalers, and plan potential like a pop-up space within their store. Meeting journalists, if we need to, any like press days or anything. So I try and do all our face-to-face stuff with when I'm in those kind of weekdays
I
in
might tell
London and
Brian I'm
stuff.
doing free. I'm like, a great one. I like it.
Yeah, so and then commute back Thursday evenings and Fridays, and then it's kind of like rounding up everything from the week and doing things like, I don't know if you've got to review contracts or any bits like that, really. But yeah.
And do you feel that you get any downtime? I know it sounds like almost a silly question, because I think sometimes the work-life balancing goes out the window when you're a CEO and mum and wife.
Yeah, I say weekends. I'm really like, as soon as I finish on a Friday, I just want to be so there for the boys. So weekends, like me and Ron don't really go out and socialise. It's just like the four of us as a little gang, and we love
Whenever
it.
I've seen you walking down the street, you are so into mum world. Like you really are. It's so amazing. So you're obviously doing that right in terms of being intentional, being in the moment. Like,
yeah, definitely. I think
that.
when it's like, we're like a little gang at the weekend. Like I just absolutely love Saturdays and Sundays, and we're all kind of together. And whether it's just like taking him to little kickers or football or whatever it is he wants to do, and then going for a coffee afterwards or a croissant or whatever it is they want. And then, we're kind of just, I really protect my weekends and just make sure that's for the boys. And we're just a little four of us together with the dog.
Oh yeah, of course. Do you know what, Henrietta? I'm so glad that you managed to squeeze this in, because it was such an important chat, and I'm sure that so many women will watch this and feel like anything's possible.
Oh, I don't know, but I feel privileged to be here. So thank you so much for even thinking of me.
And it's so nice to see you. I feel like we've had this chat before we've even gone out for coffee.
I know.
But it's great.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yay, we did it.